Holy shit. He said what?
It is interesting how she's exposing her as a yacht girl, someone who was paid off by rich men to go and hang out.
I choose people whose lives are shrouded in mystery and they've climbed the greasy pole. They want to be famous, they want to be influential, they want to be powerful.
Meghan Markle likely spent time with Prince Andrew and Jeffrey Epstein before she even met Prince Harry.
They want to hide their secrets, and I just love digging away to find out what they don't want us to know.
She flirts openly with other men.
No.
What if the royal fairy tale you were sold was nothing but a cleverly staged performance? An illusion so polished it fooled millions, until the cracks became impossible to ignore. Because when it comes to Meghan Markle and Prince Harry, every layer you peel back reveals not elegance, not authenticity, but a brand built on contradictions, scandals, and a level of hypocrisy that makes even Hollywood blush. Meghan wanted to be Diana 2.0, the adored princess of the people, but instead she's become the Duchess of Drama, staging sympathy grabs like a reality TV contestant desperate for airtime. And Harry, the once proud soldier, turned into Meghan's PR sidekick, stumbling through interviews, parroting victimhood lines like a broken record. It's no longer a love story. It's a Netflix series gone wrong, where the main characters don't realize the audience has stopped clapping. And now, Tom Bower isn't just pulling back the curtain, he's ripping it to shreds, exposing the whispers Meghan hoped would vanish.
To tell the truth, I spoke to very few friends of Meghan because she put a fatwa on anyone talking to me who she could. So I sent off dozens and dozens of emails to her friends, and most of them didn't even reply.
The infamous yacht girl rumors, the contradictions in her own words, the endless obsession with a Diana crown she was never going to wear. But here's the unique twist no one dares say out loud. Meghan and Harry aren't fighting the system. They are the system using manipulation, stage suffering, and relentless spin to profit off the very monarchy they claim destroyed them. And the more they talk, the more the world stops believing. But what Bower just revealed takes this scandal into darker territory than ever before. From the very start, Meghan's obsession with Princess Diana wasn't admiration, it was calculation. While the world mourned Diana as a woman who earned her place in history through genuine compassion and tragedy, Meghan was busy treating her like a template for a role she planned to audition for. Tom Bower paints her as someone who studied Diana's every pose, every hand gesture, every photo angle, and tried to replicate them in her own public appearances.
Harry, being a simple soul, has easily changed to suit Meghan's agenda.
But here's the brutal truth. You can't rehearse authenticity, and Meghan's attempts reeked of desperation. Every tilted head and forced teardrop looked like a bad stage performance. And instead of sympathy, people rolled their eyes. And Harry, instead of protecting his mother's legacy, he handed it over like a script to a woman who saw Diana not as a mother-in-law, but as a brand strategy. Imagine the insult, turning Diana's humanity into Meghan's cosplay. The public didn't buy it because it wasn't real, it was marketing. Meghan thought she could crown herself the new Diana, but what she ended up with was the discount Diana, a knockoff version so transparent it destroyed the very mystique she craved. And Harry, blinded by infatuation, played along, dragging Diana's memory into their endless circus of victimhood. What was once sacred became a prop, and once that line was crossed, there was no going back.
Listen, I brought Meghan Markle, whatever her name is, to my Deal or No Deal celebrity golf tournament.
But in the end, nothing beats the truth, the real facts.
She was one of my Deal or No Deal girls that were, she was a caddy for all of my celebrities.
So when Meghan came along into the scene, I just thought, this is fascinating. How is this going to play out?
But as Bower reveals, this fixation on becoming Diana was only the beginning. The next chapter is even darker, tied to Meghan's most controversial rumors. If Meghan's Diana cosplay was embarrassing, the whispers about her so-called yacht girl past are downright damning. Tom Bower doesn't mince words. He exposes the kind of rumor Meghan would rather have scrubbed from every search engine. The image of her mingling on private yachts with billionaires, playboys, and Hollywood's shadowy gatekeepers. Not as a rising star, not as some up-and-coming talent, but as someone who knew the real currency in those circles wasn't acting ability. It was proximity, charm, and strategic positioning. Let's be blunt. Meghan didn't climb the ladder. She rode the waves, using yachts as networking venues while presenting herself later as the struggling actress who made it on her own. That rags to riches story crumbles when you follow the trail of whispers, photographs, and carefully buried anecdotes. And Harry, he knows these rumors exist, yet he stands beside her, pretending the past is a fairy tale, when in reality, it looks more like a casting couch scandal on the water.
Who she could use and who could serve her purposes. She did want him because she then was promoted from an unknown actress into a global star.
The brutality of it all is that Meghan's so-called Hollywood success wasn't about auditions or scripts. It was about access, about attaching herself to the right power brokers until one day she landed the biggest catch of them all, a prince too naive to realize he was just the next stepping stone. Bauer's claim is vicious but rings true. Meghan didn't stumble into royalty. She plotted, networked, and surfed her way there. And if the yacht rumors weren't bad enough, the contradictions she spun once inside the palace only made the scandal louder. If Meghan's past was murky, her present is an absolute mess of contradictions that would make even a soap opera writer shake their head. Tom Bauer tears into the fact that Meghan can't keep her own life story straight. One day she says she barely knew who Harry was before meeting him. The next she claims she studied his every move. One interview paints her as a naive outsider. The next she brags about being seasoned enough to know exactly what she was walking into. Which is it? You can't play the clueless victim and the mastermind strategist at the same time. Yet Meghan tries, and Harry just nods along like a puppet, oblivious to how ridiculous they sound.
What I discovered was, of course, that she was hunting for a man in England from 2013, and she wanted wealth and she wanted fame, and she targeted. There's no doubt she targeted Harry.
These shifting narratives aren't harmless. They expose her as someone who bends reality whenever it suits her. And the more she talks, the more people stop believing a single word. And it's not just the public catching on. The palace saw it. Hollywood producers saw it. And now the world is watching her stories collapse under their own weight. Instead of looking like a strong woman fighting against the odds, she looks like a liar struggling to keep her script consistent. And Harry, once respected for his blunt honesty, has become the co-star in a production where truth doesn't matter, only optics do. Bauer nails it. Meghan's contradictions aren't accidents, they're strategy. But a strategy so clumsy it destroys her credibility every time her lips move. And once credibility is gone, the fall from grace only accelerates. If Meghan thought Hollywood would embrace her forever, she learned the hard way that the industry chews up pretenders and spits them out without hesitation. Tom Bauer exposes the brutal truth. Meghan entered the royal stage convinced she was untouchable, yet now the very power players she once courted won't even take her calls. Deals vanish, partnerships collapse, and producers quietly distance themselves. Not because of some conspiracy, but because no one wants to gamble on a brand soaked in scandal and self-inflicted drama. Netflix and Spotify didn't drop the ball. Meghan and Harry did, turning golden opportunities into laughable disasters filled with whining, contradictions, and zero substance.
Prince Harry and Meghan Markle will still get paid millions of dollars for doing absolutely nothing. And that's just by Netflix.
Why are we still here? Just to suffer.
Hollywood adores reinvention, but Meghan's constant spin made her look like a fraud, and Harry tagging along like a sidekick only amplified the cringe. The same celebrities who once smiled for photo ops now ghost her, because in that world reputation is currency, and Meghan's value plummeted faster than their ratings. She sold herself as a feminist icon, a voice for change, but the moment the spotlight dimmed, she was exposed as a performer chasing sympathy rather than respect. Hollywood can smell desperation, and Meghan reeks of it. Every failed deal and awkward public appearance proves her star power wasn't real, just inflated hype waiting to burst. And while she scrambles to save face, Bauer makes it clear. Meghan hasn't just lost Hollywood's favor. She's become toxic, a liability nobody in power dares to touch. The ugliest part of Tom Bauer's revelations isn't just Meghan's past or her collapsing career, it's the way she allegedly tightened her grip on Harry and turned their marriage into a stage-managed production. From the moment they went public, it was clear Meghan positioned herself not as Harry's partner, but as his handler, feeding him lines, scripting his interviews, and recasting him from a once respected soldier into a sidekick whose only role is to echo her grievances. This isn't love, it's control dressed up as romance, with Meghan always front and center, while Harry fades into a caricature of himself, awkward, bitter, and visibly lost.
Whenever they need money, whenever they need publicity to stoke their reputation, they'll drop another little bomb.
Bauer shreds the illusion by showing how every carefully staged photo, every hand-holding pose, every wide-eyed "we're just like Diana" moment was crafted to keep Meghan in control of the narrative. And Harry, he surrendered willingly, abandoning his family, his country, and his dignity to become the face of a PR campaign no one's buying anymore. The tragedy is that the same man who once embodied loyalty and courage now looks like a broken mouthpiece, a walking prop in Meghan's endless quest for attention. It's not a partnership, it's manipulation, and the cost is Harry's identity. Bauer makes it clear, Meghan didn't just marry Harry, she rewrote him, hollowed him out, and repackaged him as her accessory. And if that sounds harsh, it's because the truth is harsher. Harry isn't leading this story, he's trapped in it. When the sympathy well started to run dry, Meghan pulled out her most shameless shameless card, her own children, and especially little Lilibet, turned into a tool for headlines rather than simply protected as a child. Tom Bower exposes how Meghan times stories and appearances around her daughter like a PR strategy, not a maternal instinct, treating Lilibet less like family and more like a shield whenever public opinion turns against her. It's the most cynical play imaginable.
And then they put out pictures of Lilibet, but it doesn't. You see her half covered.
Right.
But what you always see is Meghan. So it's all about Meghan again.
Draping herself in motherhood whenever she needs the press to soften, then retreating back into silence when accountability comes knocking. And Harry, instead of protecting his daughter from the spotlight, stands by while she becomes a pawn in Meghan's endless battle for attention. Every carefully staged mention of Lilibet reeks of calculation. First photo releases, then name controversies with the Queen, and now conveniently timed sympathy pushes whenever Meghan's reputation takes another nosedive. Bower paints it for what it is, exploitation masquerading as parenting. Meghan doesn't wield authenticity. She weaponizes innocence, and that is a stain even Hollywood can't whitewash. The world sees through it. The constant tugging at Diana's ghost, the victimhood narrative, and now the use of her own daughter as a publicity prop. It's not strength, it's desperation, and it exposes Meghan as someone willing to gamble with anything, even her child's privacy, if it keeps her name in the headlines. That isn't a mother protecting her family. That's a strategist exploiting it. By the time Meghan and Harry's empire started crumbling, the only people surprised were Meghan and Harry themselves. Tom Bower drives the knife in by showing how their so-called brand, once wrapped in royal fairy dust, has collapsed into a punchline of hypocrisy, contradictions, and staged victimhood. What began as a global fascination has rotted into public fatigue. People aren't leaning in anymore. They're rolling their eyes.
I was doing an interview to offer them a platform to tell their story about why they left. And that was my number one intention, was just clarity on why did you leave? And so some of the things that were revealed in that interview came as a surprise to me. And those surprises are now referred to as bombshell.
The Oprah interview, once hyped as their defining moment, is now remembered as a masterclass in exaggeration and half-truths. Their Netflix series, instead of cementing them as cultural icons, exposed them as narcissists who couldn't stop whining long enough to realize the audience was tuning out. Every move Meghan makes screams calculation. Every project reeks of opportunism, and Harry looks more like her bodyguard than her husband. And when you mix fake empowerment speeches with endless pity parties, you don't get admiration, you get backlash. Hollywood no longer sees Meghan as aspirational. She's radioactive, dragging Harry down with her into the pit of irrelevance. Deals don't fall apart by accident. Reputations don't collapse overnight. This is the inevitable result of arrogance meeting reality. Meghan thought she could outplay the palace, outshine Hollywood, and outmaneuver the press. Instead, she stands exposed. Her brand shredded, her credibility gone, and her influence reduced to gossip fodder. Bower sums it up brutally. Meghan Markle isn't the modern Diana she dreamed of becoming. She's the cautionary tale of what happens when ambition eats itself alive. So when you strip away the glitz, the staged tears, the endless spin, what's really left of Meghan Markle and Prince Harry? Not the royal rebels they sold us, not the humanitarian power couple they pretended to be, but two fallen stars clinging to relevance as their empire of contradictions collapses in real time.
That Meghan never really intended to stay. Her guest list to her wedding showed her real ambition was to be a star in California, and Harry's friends were excluded from the guest list in the evening from the dinner.
Tom Bower's revelations slammed the door shut on any illusion of authenticity. Meghan isn't a misunderstood victim. She's a strategist caught in her own web of lies. And Harry isn't a prince leading change. He's a sidekick stumbling through her script. Their story isn't a fairy tale anymore. It's a cautionary headline about what happens when ambition devours integrity and when brand management replaces truth. And yet, as explosive as these secrets are, they're only part of the darker saga. Because if you think Meghan's obsession with control and reputation has been exposed here, wait until you see the bombshell about those yacht girl photos Colin Jost dragged into the spotlight. Images Meghan would do anything to erase. That scandal makes today's revelations look tame, and it's the one she can't outrun. If you want to see exactly what has Meghan rattled to the core, click on my previous video, Meghan Markle Unhinged After Colin Jost Exposes Her Leaked Yacht Girl Photos Online. And trust me, you won't believe how deep this rabbit hole goes. This is Star Spotlight, where the truth behind the headlines burns brighter than the lies.